All right. Hi, everybody. We are going to talk about how to use some doodling and travel sketching combined with your nature journaling. I've been doing some travel sketching while at airports and waiting for meals and stuff like that in this small sketchbook. I'm going to show you a couple ways that you can incorporate stuff from a small sketchbook into your regular sketchbook, and I'm also going to show you how you can easily capture some of the fun stories from travel and even just use some scrapbooking techniques where you take pieces of tickets or stubs or receipts, anything like that, and stick it into your nature journal or sketchbook in a variety of ways using some really basic tools. So, a couple things that you'll be able to use right away in your nature journaling or scrapbooking or whatever practice. But first, we're going to start off with just a little bit of doodling to warm up. And I'm going to show a couple different approaches that um, might be useful for getting you warmed up. One is going to be doing the doodling on an old receipt like this, so you're not as worried about the outcome. And we're actually going to use an image here that I just took a photo. Since I'm using my phone as the camera for this video, I can't show how I would look at my phone. But what you can do is you can just have your phone next to you, next to your sketchbook, and you can draw stuff from there. So, for example, here's a photo that I took earlier today of this bus. And so, this bus is a funny part of my story, of my travel today. And I do have a little receipt from the bus, but this receipt is not really that interesting. And since this receipt is not that interesting, what I'm going to do is also try to do a little sketch of the bus. So let me get my page set up a little bit here, and you can sketch along and doodle along. Remember, the more you doodle, the better. I think sometimes with nature journaling, we can forget to doodle a little bit. I do need to do a little bit of planning because I want this to be in sort of a sequential order with my some flight information here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the gray side of this pen to just organize the page a little bit. So I'm going to use the gray side here, and I'm just going to leave a little bit of space up here for the flight part of my trip. And then down here, I can do the bus part. So now that I have reserved that area, actually, maybe I'll just reserve a little bit more because I kind of want to do a map. So now let's do a little bit of doodling. This is live, Susan. I was originally trying to schedule a pre-recorded video to come out tonight. Landscape painting next to human feces. I don't know if you saw it. It accidentally came out last night for some reason. Very fun, interesting, and yeah, anyways, let's get on to the doodling. So if you don't want to doodle straight on your nature journal page or your sketchbook page, one thing you can do is to use a piece of scrap paper like this. It's always a good option for a warm up, and it tricks your brain into worrying less. And worrying less is a lot of times the most important thing that you need to do to improve your drawing, or to at least just get out there and draw. So I'm gonna do these weird rear view mirrors that stick out like some kind of bug, bug antennae. And speaking of bugs, I just set up my black light as soon as I got here, and there are bugs showing up at it already. I don't know if I will be able to take the camera out there during the live and show you, but I will definitely try. I'm definitely going to do a lot of iNaturalist of them, and I will also try to draw some of them. I have so many moths on my iNaturalist. It got a little bit out of control while I was in Ecuador because I was losing sleep trying to document all of these things that were showing up at my light at night, and then it would just take me hours and hours to upload them onto iNaturalist. I think I can hear a bug bouncing on the window right now, actually. So, as you can see, this receipt paper is actually working, like, way better with ink than I was expecting. Um oh, there you go. That's interesting. Oh, Susan, have you been checking out my iNaturalist lately? I don't end up using the all of these features of iNaturalist where you can, like, I do follow some people, but I don't usually use it on, the computer, so I'm not able to, like, look or do a lot of the functionality of, like, looking at what other people have been observing, but it is cool that that is um, a thing that you can do on iNaturalist. Okay, so there is the bus. I mean, part of the funnest part about this bus is actually the color, and I don't think that this um, receipt paper will take the color that much, but just to keep things going, I'm gonna do one more sort of doodle or quick sketch, and I'm actually gonna do it of this map. So if you're drawing the bus too, I'm gonna um, switch it here pretty soon. Oh, Ivea's question. Not on my way to Guanacaste yet. I'm kind of going to be all over the place in the country actually teaching nature journaling teacher trainings. So I wanted to do this little bit of this map because I was recently on the northernmost part of Colombia, and what I didn't realize is that the northernmost part of Colombia is further north than Costa Rica. So I just am going to do a little sketch showing how Central America goes down. Really, here's the Yucatan Peninsula. Um, and Central America goes down really farther than in my mind it was like more simplified. There's something big outside. I think I think I'm going to get some good coleoptera here, which I'm excited about. Already saw one really cool looking scarab family beetle and a snake. Already one snake so far. And this is the spot where I saw a lot of snakes. Did it? Oh no, actually I didn't see that many snakes last year. I did look for them a lot, but didn't see them. Okay, so I think you can kind of see that Costa Rica, and then I didn't even see my brain already sort of adapted it and made it, tried to correct it, and it was, not right. So, Santa Marta. So you can see that I don't know if it works for you, but drawing on the paper made me worry less than if I was doing this doodling in my book. So it's just one more idea of a way that you can kind of trick your brain and get around some of the procrastination and perfectionism and stuff like that. Oh, someone just yay, glitter pool party just said just sent a $20 super chat thing. So it is a thing you can do during a YouTube live is you can go down to the bottom and there's a way that you can give me a tip or something like that. So really appreciate it. Oh wow. Yes, there's a lot of stuff going on in the comments, Susan. Yes, yes. This sort of fractal nature, you cannot measure the length of a coastline. That is very trippy to think about. The things to think about on a rainy day. Okay, I might not be able to catch everybody's questions and comments here. I'm gonna keep going, but we got that. Let me check my notes about what were some of the other things I wanted to show. Um, we did the doodling warm up. Now I'm gonna talk about space filling. So let me get this. I'm not gonna show all of this because this is something that I now do for Patreon members. Let me take this away. But I've been really interested in space filling lately, and it's a great technique to practice, and you can use it for doodling. So here on this page, which is sort of showing a travel situation. So here's like my tickets. Here's a little comic about how I had to run and almost missed my connecting flight. Here's a map of the airport that I taped in that you can flip up and see the comic. Here's a stub. Here's from the hotel where I stayed. Here's a picture that I drew at the airport and cut out. And then here you can see there's just all of this doodling, and it's basically random doodling. Oh, it looks like my light's gonna run out here pretty soon. It's just a basically random doodling of little symbols and little drawings, but I used it for space filling. So here it says Quito, the city where it was. Here's another map, and I drew on the map too, showing places where I went. And then I just did this space filling type of doodling. So this is something that I think that nature journalers could benefit from. I think sometimes nature journaling, it gets we might be losing some of the carefree aspects of drawing, and I think that those have benefits too. And aesthetically, I think this has benefits as well. This space filling, it takes a long time, but it could be your warm up. So you might not do this all in one go. This might be a warm up that you do. So we're gonna start designing this page here, and that's one of the space filling is one of the elements that we're going to use. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rip this out. And I think this map is good enough, or I can always put in another map or cover it up or something like that. So, and then maybe I can just show, oh, I should show where Bogota is. Bogota is way further down here. More or less there. And then, I could draw like an airplane or cut out an airplane or whatever, but, or just draw a dotted line going to Costa Rica. Okay, so see how simple that can be, really simple. Oh, Jean and Mindy are here also. Cool. Sorry, I messed up with the scheduled episode. There is a scheduled episode that was supposed to come out tonight, and it accidentally came out yesterday. So I'm going to put the link here in the chat. I can't remember if you can click on this or even copy and paste it, but that's the episode that came out yesterday. And I have a couple more from that really dry part of Northern Colombia where it was very cool for landscape painting and really cool plants, but also a lot of trash in the ocean, a lot of plastic bags everywhere. So some, sort of depressing human impacts that were very, very visible there, and lots of human poops everywhere in the bushes. Lots of dogs and cats just kind of running around everywhere, also pooping in lots of places. So it was an intense place to be nature journaling. Let's just say that. But the landscapes were absolutely incredible. I could do a whole landscape class from one of those locations. And these mountains are the biggest mountains that close to the coast anywhere in the world. So it goes from sea level with cacti and tropical Caribbean waters all the way up to snow-covered peaks in like less than 40 kilometers or something like that. So it's pretty amazing there, that mountain range. And ideally, I could do like a more advanced map and show a bunch of that stuff here. But I think the important thing that I'm trying to demonstrate here is that you don't have to be perfect, and that look how easily we just drew a quick map based on a screenshot from Google Maps. You could just look at your phone, do that, and then we did it on this. This is like a receipt from the hotel. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at these things that they stick on your checked baggage. Oh, and I'm about to show you why I use checked baggage in a second, is because I have knives and stuff like that I like to travel with. And I'm going to show you how that knife is really helpful for taking out these small travel sketches and taping them or gluing them into my bigger sketchbook or nature journal. So when you have checked baggage, you also get these free stickers basically. Oh, it's sticking where I don't want it. Ah, so check this out. This right here, it has, the flight information on it and this weird barcode type stuff. So you can just creatively, it's hard to rip. So we're going to cut it with scissors. You can't take these on the plane either. So how about that? Another reason why you need checked baggage, unfortunately. So I'm just going to cut this. There's also boarding passes. I don't know where my boarding pass is right now. But I'm going to actually put this one sideways. But you can see how this can just be another creative collage type element here. I'm not going to think about it too much. You could definitely overthink it. And then I'm going to leave this open a little bit, and then the bus stuff. So this is the next day, basically, is going to go down here. I kind of like that this paper is see-through and you can kind of see this other stuff coming up through it. Maybe what I could do is I could actually make this. I'll show you one of these other techniques, which is to use tape. And look at this tape right here. I bought really cheap in Ecuador, and I've had it for a long time, and it doesn't come with a dispenser, but look how easy it is to use. Get it started with my fingernail, and then even without having scissors, like if you're in a big hurry, you could still get a pretty good piece of tape just like that. And look at how easy it is to make like a interactive three-dimensional element on one of my two-dimensional nature journal pages here. And I just put that down like that. And look, now suddenly you have this thing that folds up, which means you're increasing the amount of surface area in your nature journal too. So what that means is you could have information on the back here. And one way I'm experimenting with that, obviously that's helpful when you have these pages from another sketchbook that have things on two sides. Obviously it's helpful for creating sort of hidden elements, but it also, check this out. Where is it? Here we go. You can also do things like, oh no, is my internet going? No. You can also do things like this, where you create fold out accordion type maps. So those are all things that you can do when you expand out from just this flat two-dimensional page. So now what I'm going to do is, I think this is kind of ugly, but I'm just going to cut it. And, with scrapbooking and collage, one thing you can always do is you can just start having the material lying around, and later on you might be able to use it, which is one reason why it can be good to make a pocket in the back of your book. So here you can see I created this as a pocket that I just made by taping two pages together in the back of my book. And then I can just stick in all of these things. So like this, for example, is from the cover of the wrapping from my book. This is more receipts, and I can just save these. And whenever I want to use them as collage elements, I can also put in like this special fancy watercolor paper that's already pre-folded. So this is already pre-folded, and I can make those kind of strip maps on this and tape it in. And it's just, all of this stuff is ready to go in the back of my journal in this pocket. So for now, I don't think I'm going to, here's the other thing from the bus. I don't think I'm gonna do too much more on this page. I kind of want this to go right there. I'm gonna do a teeny bit more on this page, and then I'm gonna show you how a couple different ways to cut drawings out of your small sketchbook and include those. Yes, totally. I think some of the receipt paper is toxic. I'm not sure um if this stuff that I'm all putting all this stuff in my nature journal, it's a bunch of toxic receipts, but I've never actually looked up the information about it, but I have heard that some receipts are really toxic, which is sad. That sounds very cool, Susan. It sounds like a rain shadow as well, which is the place where I was in Northern Colombia was a rain shadow situation. Okay, so let me check my notes here for this episode. I think that was the main things I wanted to show there. Um, let's do a teeny bit of doodling for space filling. So maybe in this zone right here. So just to give you the idea, we've got this whole zone right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do the space filling doodling. So now's a really good chance for you to have a very um, easy, low pressure opportunity to just start doing some doodling of your own and actually like move your hands a little bit. So I highly recommend taking this opportunity while I'm drawing this gingerbread man next to a triangle and some squares to just start doodling whatever random shapes come up. And the more you do this, the easier it will become. And I really think that this is the kind of thing you probably did when you were 5, and it's not that hard to start doing it again. But especially like in nature journaling, where we're really focused on drawing things from observation, sometimes we forget how to draw things from imagination. And I think that even if nature journaling and observational drawing is your overarching goal, practicing drawing from imagination and doodling like this every once in a while is going to still benefit uh, your overarching goal. So let's just start making stuff up and just filling in space. It can even just be shapes or circles over and over again. So get out your just scrap paper. It could be a newspaper. It could be whatever. And then obviously, if you want to make it a little bit harder, you can try to be more thematic. So like I could be trying to in here doodle a bunch of things that represent aspects of my trip that I just had. Um, like maybe I'll draw like a face with like weird spiral zombie eyes. I know this is kind of far away. You can't see like exactly what I'm drawing, but that's not the important part. It's just this space filling doodling. I'm just drawing a bunch of silly things. I'm gonna draw this poodle because I saw a crazy poodle in the airport. Actually, it's gonna be really hard to draw, or it's not gonna look the way that I want it to look. Hey, that's actually better than I was thinking. So the idea with the space filling doodling is to just see how you can fit a bunch of drawings together, um, and use up all of the space. And I think that this can also be adapted to things when you're nature journaling. Like if you just are drawing a bunch of birds and put all the birds really close together. Or it could be really cool for plants also. So this is something that I've been experimenting more with, and I think sometimes trying something that's really different from what you normally do can be really good for your art practice, really good for your brain. Let's see what else. A shoe, why not? Like a boot. There we go. Draw another boot. And the more that you do this, you'll start getting all this visual vocabulary that you can use for a bunch of different things. And remember, since you're doing collage and mixed media stuff, if you don't like anything that comes out on your page, you can always just take something and glue it on top of that. So this space filling doodling, I think, is really fun. Poop emoji and a viper. Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, the poop emoji has a face on it. So there are things you can do, like, I remember a class that I think Kate Rudder did about sketchnoting, and she said you can just go on, like, Google, and they have, like, symbols, for all these different things, and you can just practice drawing symbols from something like that. So emojis, things like that would be, a really good idea. So great idea. Glitter pool party. Karen's here. Hi, Karen. Okay, so that gives you that idea of the space filling. I just wanted to bring it up because it's something that I've been doing lately, and I think that it can work. Let me show you one other example. So here's the example from Keto. And I did this over the course of a lot of time. It wasn't all, like, while I was there, but it was fun to just have that low pressure art project that I could always go back to. And then let me show you one way that I tried to use it in a slightly different way. Um, Here you can see I tried to use it with all of these birds right here. So I just started squeezing in as many bird drawings as I could onto this page. And I also sort of did that here. And I think that the more that you do that sort of doodling, the easier it will be for you to sort of fill pages in ways that are aesthetic. So this is the kind of tips that are sort of at the forefront of my thinking on these kind of things. And so if you're the kind of person that watches the show regularly, these are the little things that I start putting out there, and I think that some of them um, could have some uh, benefits, you know. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to cut out pages and put them in. So we're going to actually go to this page right here. Here is there is a really cool map here. It's a little bit faint, but this map shows my trip. I actually made a podcast for my Patreons. A lot of my podcasts you can listen to even if you're not a paying Patreon. And this is a map showing my bus ride from Quito, Ecuador to Mindo, Ecuador in the cloud forest and the sort of transitional zones in between. Um, I'm gonna put a little bit more light on in here, my headlamp. Oh, that's too much. Okay, so you can see that there, and you can listen to a whole podcast about it on my Patreon, which I'll just put up right here. There's a lot of stuff on there now, and a lot of ways you can use Patreon, even if you're not a paying member. And that's something I'm going to be moving towards more and more because it's not social media. Patreon doesn't work on an algorithm. So what that means is you're following an artist, that's whose stuff you're going to see. It's not going to be some algorithm that decides, that you want to look at like cat explosions um, or kite surfing or some random thing like that is going to be popping up on your like on Instagram. So that's what's really cool about Patreon. Even if you're not a paying member, you can follow me on there. Especially if you get the app, you can get access to a lot of content that way. So here's some sketches I did in town. And then here is, you might be wondering already what this is. This is from a beer bottle, or maybe it was a can. So a lot of beverages or different things similar to these baggage stickers, you can sometimes pull labels off, and even with the glue that is already on it, just glue it onto your page. It's something to test. If you like wine, or if you like beer, or you're traveling and you want to save that label, you can easily stick it in there. It's a great sort of mixed media scrapbooking technique to know about. However, as much as I think it's a decent enough label and it was a good beer, I want to put some of these sketches that I did from the town of Mindo into my book. And this is one of the few places that has an opening. And if you look at it, the size is actually perfect. So I'm going to show you a couple ways that you can cut pages out of a small sketchbook like this and put them into your larger sketchbook. So the first way, and sort of the most obvious way, is to just cut a page out, and hopefully it doesn't have anything good on the back side, and then you can put glue on the back side and just glue it in like that. So that's the way I'm going to show you first. And for that, it can be easy. The easiest way is probably just to cut it almost like you're using an X-Acto knife, or you could also use scissors. The X-Acto knife sort of method, like I'm doing right now, is a little bit dangerous because sometimes it doesn't go through all the way. Sometimes it cuts through too many pages, and that can be a problem. So right now it didn't go through all the way. So I have to go back, and it might not be a perfect cut. So then you end up with something like this, and this can just get glued straight down. I don't think I want to put it here. In this case, it would completely cover that up. So I'm going to look to see if I have another page in here, or I could just put it in to my pocket in the back. But ideally, I want to be close to, oh, you know what? This text right here is not necessary because this was the text I used for the podcast. So in this case, it will actually look really cool, I think, if I put it like right there on top of the text. Look at how that looks. I like that. See, this text is basically space filling as well. I think the space filling concept is actually really important for aesthetics. All right, so that's one way. That's the easiest way to do that, but you end up wasting a lot of paper. And if you have drawings on both sides, then you lose it. So here's a couple sketches that I don't want to do that for. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to look at how the book is constructed, and I'm basically going to cut out a whole, I don't know if this is a folio. There's all these technical like Italian words for how the books are folded together, I think. But what you can do is you can just look at the binding and see like, okay, these 4 pages are all together. They're actually just 2 sheets of paper folded over. And then you can cut the if it's thread like this, you can either cut the thread and sometimes pull them out, or the glue, and sometimes there's thread and glue. So let's see here. See how easily that one came out? Look at that. Let's see if this next one has glue as well. And unfortunately, I don't really like, I usually like Stillman and Burn for almost everything, but the way that they glue these together, I don't like it. Come on. The glue sort of ruins the aesthetic here of these pages that otherwise would be able to lay flat, which is supposed to be one of the benefits of not having a spiral bound. Oh no, this is going to be ugly. No. Okay, there we go. All right, so I think I got the most important pages. So let's reassemble them. So see, I want these to go together. I spent a long time drawing this church. Signatures, that's what they're called. Is that what they're called? Okay, so now you can see how this is. There's a couple ways to do this, and I'm probably not going to make the most beautiful example, but there's a couple ways that you could tape this so that this will still be, all these pages will be openable. So you might decide, for example, I don't care about this one. It would also be eliminating this. Maybe I do care about those. So I have to figure out a way to tape this so that it can still fold and all the pages can open. I think last time I did this, it didn't work out perfectly, but watch, let's try this here. So I think I'm just gonna put it right in the middle of this beer label. Get my tape ready. So I'm gonna use two different ways of using the tape, I think. So first, I am going to put the tape this way. So I'm putting strips across that way. Now I'm going to put one wow. Sounds like a fun project. Wow, lots of people doing map stuff. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing. If you're watching this as a recorded version, you usually can go back and see the live chat. I highly recommend it because there's actually some really cool stuff that people mention in the comments in there, and there's some really cool projects that people are doing in the community. You can learn a lot. If you've never participated in the live chat before, I highly recommend it. Okay, so see, I've got a strip going that way, a strip going that way, and then a long strip going that way. I think that's enough for that side. And now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And then, fingers crossed, I'll be able to still open all of the pages and see everything. And so this is the kind of thing that you can do. So technically, I'm done with this nature journal. Like I've already moved on. This is number 53. I'm on number 54. I haven't finished the index yet. But I have these pages from the small sketchbook and I want them to go with chronologically with my big sketchbook. And I don't want to have multiple sketchbooks, like these different sizes. It gets really confusing. So my new approach is to try to cut things out and put them in so it's all sort of in one place. And now let me just put those two other ones on there. If it weren't completely dark outside, I would show you the beautiful place where I am right now. It's this science field station in Southern Costa Rica. There's amazing rainforest all around here. It's also a botanical garden here with thousands of species of plants. I think there's 3,000 species of plants in the botanical garden. And then there's all these forest trails, all kinds of cool animals, toucans all over the place. It's really amazing. I did go live from here before. I have done some episodes from here when I was here last year. Okay, so there you go. There you have it. There's two different main ways to incorporate pages. And look, this small sketchbook, it's not totally trashed because of the way that I took it out. I can still continue to use this as my sort of pocket sketchbook. And then little by little as I go, like if I want to add this page from Medellin in, this was funny when I was at the beach, people were partying at the beach. I can cut these out later, and put them into my main sketchbook. This is from the airport in Colombia where I almost got stuck yesterday. I spent all day in airports yesterday and all day on a bus today. So there we have it. Oops, details. Okay, so I should have realized that this one wouldn't be okay. So let's see here. I need to put tape on the I know how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put tape, uh, one thin piece of tape going that way. And obviously, if you wanna be more precise, you can be I sort of when it comes to tape and folding paper and wrapping Christmas presents, I'm kind of like sophisticated kindergarten level. So, if you're the kind of person who makes, like, really nicely wrapped, Christmas presents and you know how to make the, like, bow all curly and all of that, then, and do origami like really well, then you're probably going to be able to do this in a much more precise way than I am. Um, I do have some like OCD tendencies, but for this kind of thing, I kind of just need to do it and then um, not worry about it too much. Because if I start worrying about it too much, then I usually just don't end up doing it at all. So, um, that's why my tape is not gonna look perfect. Okay, so there you have it. Those pages are all in here, and obviously this journal is gonna get fatter and fatter because I'm including so many three-dimensional elements. And then I think, let's see, there was one other thing I was going to talk about, which is maps. I'm gonna briefly show you something that I'm experimenting with. It's sort of top secret. Um, I'm experimenting with hybridizing maps and landscape painting. So, for example, here I'm trying to show um, all of these cities along the northern coast of Colombia where I was. So there's Cartagena way back there, and then you can see this is sort of like in perspective of the map. But then as you get closer, it gets bigger. So Cartagena, Barranquilla, Santa Marta, Taganga. Then there's this trail to Playa Grande, which is near where I was staying. And then I have all of these arrows pointing to like where animals and stuff were that I saw. So I'm going to try to experiment with this more, just very relaxed, not to scale type of map drawing. I think there's a lot of potential there. The one other example that I'll show you is actually I did during Wild Wonder during Roseanne Hanson's class on maps. She talked about these strip maps. So I created this map right here of where I was living at that time. And oh yeah. There you go, Susan. This is the I think it was it not Roseanne's class? Oh, the army ants are coming in here. Please don't bite me. There's these army ants that sometimes make huge invasions of houses, where you have to just leave for a couple hours, and I've been seeing a few of them in my room, but I'm really hoping that they don't come in while I'm sleeping because there's no mosquito net on my bed. So, anyways, that's this map, and I think that's it for tonight. Thanks to everybody for joining in. Thanks to all of you who are supporting members on my Patreon already. A lot of you are. And you can check out the Patreon now. It has a lot of stuff, even for people who aren't paying members. So go check it out. I've been posting a lot of audio stuff, including like sounds of the forest at night, um, and also mini podcasts on there. Mini as in MINI podcasts, and a whole bunch more coming soon. Some more fun videos that I recorded in Colombia, and hopefully some new stuff from Costa Rica that I'll start filming tomorrow or tonight. I think I'm gonna go look for some snakes. So that was really fun, everybody, and see you on Sunday or next Wednesday. Bye.